Welcome back to the HGC. We're in the middle of a match between Team Liquid and Zealots. They are tied up 1-1 as we head into game number 3. And Caldor, I got a question for you. Do you think we're going to have more contention over that Dahaka? Because in both games, the third one in game number 1 was amazing on the Dahaka. Game number 2, Zarmany showed up. He had 18,000 experience for his team.
I think it's going to be interesting to see how they show. I feel it's highly map dependent, but at the same time, I think it was more interesting to see that yesterday Dahaka didn't play a bigger role.
Sure.
Because he was still a hero that, for example, in Korea was very heavily involved, if you compare it to what Europe did. And normally Europe is all about the globals. We're always talking about Dahaka, about Falstad.
Yeah.
So not seeing them play that much of a role yesterday was at least an interesting tidbit. Now, on the other hand, we're having Dahaka back in, and the global strategies, as you said, had a massive impact. Team Liquid had a great macro game with Towers of Doom thanks to him, and now we saw a similar situation evolve on Sky Temple. So on a bigger map, I think we are definitely going to see a bit more global priority once more.
All right, well, let's get ready for game number 3 to see who's going to take a lead in this tied-up series 1-1. We're going to Battlefield of Eternity, and this is where we saw the Zealots yesterday get their lone win against Trick Esports, and it was quite dominant, to say the least. They really seem to favor this battleground.
Yeah, when they played that yesterday, they looked really strong, but I feel it was also because Trick didn't really draft properly into it. What we saw heavily spec'd into by the Zealots was an attempt to make sure that they have a huge amount of pressure against Immortal itself, and also a great 5 versus 5 team fight, and that really did the trick for them. Now, on the other hand, I feel they play against a team that will not just simply hand over any kind of race potential on the Immortal. So this is a very different map from the two that we already saw. So I'm curious to see how both teams change up their draft style for it.
Yeah, I think yesterday we saw them with Li Ming, Arthas, Sonya, Hanzo, and Rhaegar on that battleground BOE. All wonderful damage against the Immortal. In fact, they didn't even go the W build, which I would love to see on that battleground to destroy even faster. They went for the auto attack Q build, but still, they got those 3 heroes, which is pretty insane to think about. So we'll see if Team Liquid tries to stop that here in the draft as we move forward. It's so important not to allow your teams to have that much single target DPS damage, and Sonya, who can control a lane by herself.
Yeah, Sonya is also a hero that, especially on the side of Zarmany, is usually played a lot.
Yeah.
There's another one of those points where you can look at the different regions and how they differently prioritize heroes. Because when you looked at Sonya, for example, Europe had her with a 71% involvement rate, and that was also to a huge extent because of the Zealots that really prioritize her very highly. And Korea had it with 88%. And the interesting part is, if you look at those 2 regions and you see the involvement rate of the hero, and then you take a glance at North America, Sonya was completely ignored.
Wow.
She was neither played nor banned in North America, as the NA team just said, nah, don't need her, don't like her. And today we haven't seen her yet either. So on Battlefield of Eternity, there's definitely a chance that the Zealots are just saying, you know what, Zarmany, here you go, you get your Sonya again, control the solo lane for us, and then make sure that you get the jump on the Immortal as well to give us a bit more of that solo damage, that single target damage here.
Team Liquid hovering the Abathur, and they will ban it. So Team Liquid has taken away Abathur. Trick did the same thing yesterday on BOE against Zealots. Seems like he is still strong on this battleground, even though first indications would think, maybe he won't work here. Sonya ban, maybe. Zealots still thinking about what they want to get rid of. Of course, we've been seeing that Genji removed as often as possible.
Yeah, for the Zealots at this point, for me personally, it's just simply the question, what do they want to play? Hanzo could be a ban. We could again see the ban against Genji, for example, if they themselves have hopes of picking him early. But it's always also a question of risk. Do you allow Team Liquid to potentially pick it as a first pick here? That's something to keep in mind as well. Okay, that's already interesting, since maybe they think that Team Liquid might again head into some kind of double support setup and want to shut that down early on here. It also leaves both Genji and Hanzo still open. So if in this case Team Liquid, for example, says, okay, this is awesome, we're going to get Hanzo right now, then Zealots could immediately react with Genji. If Team Liquid, on the other hand, picks Genji, then the Zealots have still several options to play against him. Talking Lucio, for example, that you immediately get the sound barrier against Dragon Blade, and you can still then go into Hanzo later on too if you want to.
Yeah, I like the point that you started to kind of go on there with the Uther ban going in there. Genji and Hanzo are both good pickups here. Genji, one, you're not going to get stunned anymore. We talked about that in the first game. And Hanzo, Uther struggles with poke that's coming your way. So very interesting ban there. Seems like Zealots want to move in to the Genji early. I want to see if they're going to grab it here, especially with Greymane being grabbed by Team Liquid.
Yeah, Greymane, again, great hero, huge involvement rates. Together with Genji, he is one of the 2 heroes that has been involved globally in 100% of the games. Every single game, no matter if it is Korea, North America, or Europe, has seen Genji and Greymane either banned or played. And Genji is just that flexible hero, and his strength is even more so pronounced on Battlefield of Eternity. And let's not forget that, of course, we see him also quite a lot in Infernal Shrines, where he has that extra AoE splash so that from outside the shrine you can grab the objective as well. But as a countermeasure, we have now the Zealots with ETC and with Hanzo. So again, ETC currently sitting at an 80% win ratio. Today, at 100% actually, both of the teams that played ETC on the last 2 maps came out victorious, and we have Hanzo again by ADR. Zealots really, really love that hero.
ETC is becoming a high priority for both of these teams, it looks like. Sport Billy playing him a lot in the last couple of days, and now Mopsio making sure that he's grabbing the ETC. And let's be honest, it made a big impact on last game, locking down the targets in front of them, but also giving them a lot of disengage. It felt like it empowered the Zealots to be a little bit more aggressive than what we've been seeing in the last couple of days.
Yeah, ETC was also yesterday the tank that was the highest involved, either picked or banned 71% of the games, way higher than anyone else. And today that trend does not only continue, it is actually even more emphasized since he's just grabbing wins left and right. And it doesn't come as a surprise with that context that Team Liquid now goes straight for Arthas, which is the number 2 in that setup. Arthas is just absolutely fantastic. First of all, what you're trying to do in this setup is simply you want to make sure that your opponent doesn't grab Arthas as well, since you have Greymane, and then all of a sudden it's ETC and Arthas against Greymane. That alone is a nightmare for your Greymane player.
Terrifying.
But we have also with Arthas an absolutely fantastic hero that can just simply... He can walk up to an opponent and really force that fight at some point, and that is worth a lot. It's actually interesting to me that Zealots opted in for ATC over Arthas, because yes, ETC is strong, he is extremely popular and has a good win rate, but at the same time you could have made a good argument for Arthas over ETC, considering that Greymane was already picked.
I think you have to consider also Sport Billy, though, wanting that ETC. He's been picking him a lot lately in the draft, so perhaps this is Zealot's way of attacking Sport Billy and saying, all right, let's put you on a different tank and see how you adjust here. Lucio has been banned out. Lucio with Arthas is a combo that we always talk about, and it appears that Zealots do not want the Lucio on their side, so he will be banned out. Genji is being hovered for the second ban. Nice against the Li Ming, who's currently floating around for Team Liquid, so you want to make sure she's nice and safe, so she's able to drop down the damage where she wants on the Immortals, but also can focus on the ETC and his positioning, so she can be there for the Wave of Force.
I was just about to say that it's interesting to see that Genji hasn't made an appearance in the draft yet, and Team Liquid finally homing in on him for a ban also works, especially since Zealots showcased in the previous game on Towers of Doom that they like to play the combo with Hanzo and Genji on the same setup.
There it is. The ban comes in. And now it's all about pickup for the Zealots. Do they want to grab a little bit more damage? Now would be a prime time also to grab their Sonya for that top lane. Sonya being a powerful pickup for Zarmany. However, I don't mind his Malthael gameplay. And with Arthas being picked up for Team Liquid on the left side, you can pretty much conclude that there's going to probably be another tank in the rotation, and a Malthael could be wonderful here.
Yeah, Malthael is a very, very good point, because outside of Sonya, I think this is probably what we would see Zarmany on the most.
Yeah.
There's always, of course, the option that you can jump, let's say, into the Auric here, but I feel that both alternatives just have more of an impact on the objective and the game in general. So I would agree that for Zarmany, it makes sense to either be on Sonya or on Malthael here. Both of the heroes would definitely fill that role. And if Team Liquid wants maybe to add Muradin again, which they could, for example, play that card with Arthas Muradin once more, then having Malthael in that setup would also do wonders for the Zealots, since both of them are hit point heavy tanks where Malthael comes through. But they decide in favor of Sonya here, and as their healer, he wants to against Seerega.
Okay, so instead they get a little bit more lane bully, and they get some upfront damage with that Poison Spear at level 7, so not a bad trade-off. And of course, we've been talking about Zarmany and his Sonya. Last year it came to the point where it almost felt like he was on Sonya every game, but when it's working, why fix it?
Yeah, as long as you're not too one-dimensional, as long as you have other heroes where you are still good at, then there's absolutely no problem with it. Sometimes we see people looking at a player's hero pool and saying like, hey, this guy only plays 2 heroes. There's nothing wrong with that. If both heroes are readily available to you, you excel at both of them, and you still have 4 back options. If those 2 heroes are the only heroes you can play, then it becomes an issue, because then you can't deviate. But as long as you still have other options where you play on the same skill level, there's nothing wrong with focusing on the 2 that your team is the most comfortable playing with and that you excel at.
Just make sure that your strength doesn't become your biggest weakness.
Exactly.
In the future.
Yeah.
So, Sonya and Rhaegar picked up for Zealots, 4th and 5th pick coming in for Team Liquid. Expecting possibly another tank here. Yes, there it is. The Anub'arak will give them the engage that they want, and Malfurion for the roots. And it seems like Team Liquid is starting to favor this Malfurion, popping up a couple times now.
Yeah, Malfurion is definitely really, really strong, but I also want to talk about Anub'arak for a second, because Anub'arak has not really seen too much play yet, but he is very successful across regions right now. Across regions, we have him with an 80% win ratio. In Europe right at this point, he has a 100% win ratio. He's only played 2 games though, but it's an interesting global trend that whenever we have a team with a Anub'arak, they seem to be doing, or the hero itself seems to create a lot of opportunities. Of course, once again, through his cocoon, his ult, the stuns that he provide. So there's a lot of positive things to say about Anub'arak. So he's not really insanely popular as other tanks, as main tanks, but he's one of those that is starting to sneak his way into the top spots here. So definitely one of the heroes that we have to keep an eye on, considering that we are still in the early stages of HGC 2018.
Lenara picked up, but continuing your point on the Anub'arak, it feels like he has some similar characteristics to an ETC and how you would play him. Floating around the map, make sure they have the impel set up to stop the engage if they do come your way, so disengage is great for him. He's got to be a little bit careful on your hard engages on the burrow charges. A lot of players in Hero League that I've seen playing Anub'arak try to all in on a target, and if you do that, he does have a minimal health pool, especially against the sharpened arrowheads that you get from Hanzo. Be careful with that, but still, wonderful, especially post-level 10, when you get that cocoon hitting a support, stopping the Ancestor healing from coming in, or even a cleanse later on can be great.
Also, let's not forget what kind of setup they're currently running here. We have Greymane and Li Ming on the other side.
Yeah.
If you get any kind of setup with a cocoon, Howling Blast, you can either go straight and cocoon the target. If you find, for example, someone isolated on a lane and Anub'arak makes his way over, gets the cocoon and sets up for the rest of the team to move in and get the kill. Or as you already said, if you find a target within the fight, you simply drop the cocoon on Rhaegar. All of a sudden there's no Ancestral available, and then the rest of the team follows Arthur's with a slow, with a Howling Blast. You get a Li Ming combo in, and then also Greymane delivering the damage. So the blow-up potential of your team composition just rises exponentially once that you have a Anub'arak in your setup, if he is played correctly and synergizes with the rest of the team.
Well, it is time here to start game number 3. We're all tied up so far 1-1. Who will take the lead between Team Liquid and the Zealots? It's time to find out.
Game number 3, everybody. The series is tied as Team Liquid to the left starts once again with Splendor on Malfurion. Nuruk this time on Li Ming. We have Sport Billy on Anub'arak. Eternal has taken over Arthur's again, and Hazops this time on Greymane.
On the right side in the red, the Zealots here. Mopsy will be playing ETC, ADRD will be playing Hanzo, Zarmony on the Sonya, Chris playing Lenara, and Shad will be your Rhaegar player.
We definitely have an interesting series on our hands here, currently tied, and both of the teams have shown some great macro play, but now we don't have a global in those setups. Always, of course, assuming that ETC will go into the mosh pit here. Could see a stage dive if they really feel they need that extra presence on the offlane, but for now it's Zarmony, his favorite hero, at the top again, and we have the Zealots actually trying to see if they can maybe make the rotation top and force a quick fight here. But a good anchor on the side of Liquid spotted that early on, so at this point, no early shenanigans just yet.
This has been happening more and more. The random movement to putting a 4 on the top lane, trying to catch that off lane matchup so you can move in for a turret and try to burn it down quickly. Not working out here for Team Liquid as Zealots catches them. So Team Liquid will do their best to move to the bottom side and start dealing with the 4-man, while ADRD moves into his trademarked build, I guess, now. I want to see if level 4 he's getting to ignore all distractions. I really do not like it on this battleground, and I kind of hope he doesn't pick it up.
I don't think he will. I might be wrong, but I think when he played it the last time on Battlefield of Eternity, he did not choose that talent.
Yeah.
It's going to be, again, I'm really waiting for more and more players to show us their Hanzo style and the build that they play. Keep in mind that we have, for example, not seen Fnatic and Dignitas play yet. Both of those teams will grace us then tomorrow. So not all of the European teams, or North American, Korean teams for that matter, have played yet. So there's still quite a lot to be said. To wait a few days and see what they can bring to the table. But for now, we have, again, the early camps taken, especially the Zealots focus very heavily on the camp control and try to get an early lead here. In the meantime, Team Liquid has taken the wall up at the top, which has netted them a slight lead in experience at this point.
The Zealots are quickly entering back by poking the turret on the top side. ADRD is actually doing a little cool thing where you can get a lock onto the turret and back up, and then the attack will come out. Oh, hang on, though. That's not a cool thing. A Therno comes in for the flank. A combo comes out. There's a root, and we no longer have an Hanzo or an ETC on the field.
Yeah, and this is one of those moments when you can really tell how strong it can be to have this Arthas and Uber composition in your setup. Howling Blast, stuns coming in, and once that you have this much lockdown with Malfurion also laying down the lawn, you have just 2 damage healers that are sitting there and saying, alright boys, it's time to kill stuff. Li Ming with a combo, Corte comes in, Greymane jumps off and delivers. That was a brutal opening, and Team Liquid, in addition to getting the top wall, now also grabbed 2 kills. They have nearly a level lead, the early level 4 talent. They take another camp at the top, nearly perfectly timed, also timing the next camp with the Immortal itself. Team Liquid is really off to a good start here.
That they are, and it will be the explosive arrow at level 4 here for Hanzo. Speaking about Li Ming too, the build is reflecting the game plan here for Team Liquid, moving into full Q build, looking for one target, landing all the damage on that target, and blowing them up. Nurok has actually favored this build in the past, even mixed in a little Cannoneer here and there, so we'll see if he tends to do that on this battleground.
Yeah, Nurok is really good at triggering other players that play the same heroes. He always has his special blend. Oh my god! Hanzo and his hit point pool. And yeah, at that point, when you find yourself this far out and then locked down, then you just can't survive that. Not with Greymane being around, not with Li Ming being here. ADRD has to dodge these lockdowns. There's just no other way. And as long as Rhaegar doesn't have his cleanse, he just needs to watch his position.
And this is a spot where the Q build can be really strong. If you know you're going to be dived upon, as a Hanzo player, if you're seeing this type of composition on the opposing team, maybe consider moving into a little bit of a safer build. We'll see if they're able to make it work out. I'm talking about the level 1 pickup in the Q where you finish off the quest. It's actually kind of decent non-BOE if you're able to finish it off. All right, now, Zealots versus Team Liquid, 6.5 to 6 for Zealots. A nice lead here for Team Liquid on the Immortal phase. Zealots are forced to come over and attempt to defend. Their goal is to try and grab a pick or 2 so they can peel someone off to deal damage to their own Immortal. But so far, Team Liquid has a great concave and are preventing it.
Yeah, the lead that Team Liquid got earlier translated now into the halftime show and the advantage that they have on the Immortal itself. And they are very eager to make sure that they have a solid shield on the first Immortal that they can utilize to pressure through, ideally, a fort itself. So level 4 talents are here, and the problem for Zealots really translates through the level 7 that Team Liquid is going to pick up with this. We see Nurok already working on the extra experience points. They have the talent. And that's a rough situation to be in. It's a tiny window, only half a level, but it's enough to push through with the Immortal and potentially even getting killed here. So Zealots have to be very, very cautious.
Especially if they can get to the turrets before the shield expires on the Immortal, it will leave its range mode. So Zealots are doing their best to make sure to stop that from occurring by burning it down quickly, and there it is, the shield is gone, and this makes defense a little bit easier. Yeah,
top lane is in the meantime assailed, and that is going to be a fort. Sport Billy, Therno, and Hazorps just move in, and there is nothing that the Zealots can do. Absolutely nothing. So at this point, a huge win for Team Liquid. A level ahead still, able to take down quite a fair amount of structures here, even pressuring the wall at the top keep, and now they can still easily move back. Sport Billy needs to be careful for a second, gets actually slowed down by Chris's poison on Lunara. But the rest of the team is already moving over.
That they are. And Zarmi was really patient there. It looked like he was wanting to go for a fight. Sport Billy getting a couple of those beetles to come out to try and soak that spear. But he never unleashed it. Just constantly chasing, waiting for his team to show up. Team Liquid eventually got away, but Zarmi was primed and ready to start the fight for his team. The opportunity just did not pop up. And Team Liquid will continue to control mercenary camps and keep this lead. Zealots, where do you see them finding their moment to start a fight? Is it at 10?
Yeah, I think 10 has definitely to come in from them. The problem for them is really that there's a very good chance that they are not going to hit level 10 around the second Immortal, and that Team Liquid will. That's what I'm a bit worried about, because the second Immortal with the level 10 advantage for Team Liquid would be such a huge potential blowback for the Zealots that they could lose a lot of ground here. Right now, once that level 10 hits, I think the Zealots have some very cool tools that they can use here. But Team Liquid's composition is just frightening. That front line is so strong, and if you get the lockdown on anybody with all these CCs that they hold, it's fantastic. Isolated kills, on the other hand, would be a blessing for the Zealots at this point, but it's not happening. Team Liquid rotates too fast.
Now Fearon here for the heal for Eternal. He'll be able to survive, and 9.5 experience to 8.5 of the Zealots. A full level behind with 10 looming around the corner, and Immortal here in 10 seconds. Team Liquid is very happy with where they're at. Grabbing mercenary camps on the bottom left as well to pressure that fort, putting Zealots in a spot where they feel confined to the battleground as they have to get 10 themselves.
Yeah, so now it's really a question of what's happening around this Immortal, because if Team Liquid rushes this and is able to grab it with 10 right away, then they can push with 10 before the Zealots have the heroic ability. And that would be a nightmare.
Do we get Syndergosa with a double tank setup and a 10 here?
To be honest, if they accomplish what I just said, we could see it.
Well, let's watch here. Immortal being burned already.
I'm not saying that would be the most stable option here, but if Team Liquid says, hey, we can actually just carry that momentum through, they could do that, but only if they have a very...
I think you do it right now.
This is... I think you wait. You hold back your own.
Yeah, totally. But think of the composition on the opposing team for Zealots. You have Sonya, Lunara, and Hanzo. If Hanzo and Lunara get hit by the Syndergosa, you can go for it. And that's Army of the Dead. But also, Sonya, if she gets hit by it, she has a hard time getting the engage she wants. Even dropping off a decent whirlwind while slowed is quite annoying.
I mean, one of the biggest problems is that there's still a fort at the bot lane.
Yeah.
If the fort was gone, I would say go Syndra and see what you can do with it. But the problem, you see already we have 10 by now on the side of the opponent, so that already speaks against Syndergosa. And in this setup, yeah, Li Ming gets blown to pieces here. So even with the cocoon that we saw coming out, Li Ming is already down. So that was a nice little touch by the Zealots here. And they are starting to make their way back into this. That gives them an opportunity to also take some of the hit points down of the Immortal. They're still likely to lose the race, but as long as they can diminish the hit points, that would be fantastic. And, well, maybe they get another kill and are able to win the objective after all.
Great arrow, by the way, too. Landing on top of Malfurion, but the splash damage was enough to help kill Li Ming and also give the stun. Zealots are now doing their best to defend, but push at the same time on the Immortal, while Li Ming is now joining up with their team. Team Liquid will be looking to aggressively push forward with their Nubrak and their Arthas so they can set up a lane for the Li Ming to shell her spells forward.
Just another 10 seconds and we're going to have Cocoon ready again. So they're starting to move in. Good poke here with Li Ming in particular. But the Zealots look for an opportunity and start to posture aggressively towards the front. Good connect by Zarmony against Hazops, dropping a bit of damage, but Splendor is ready with an immediate heal. But Zealots, their Immortal is so low, they really have to aggressively posture up here, and that's not quite the spot where they want to be.
Arrow's up. They need to find a spot where Team Liquid is clumped. Team Liquid is doing a really good job of not clumping. But if that arrow comes through and hits one of the two members, can have Li Ming get killed completely if Lunara and Sonya are able to find their targets. Team Liquid, aware of this, are playing safe, floating around, waiting for the Twilight Dream, which will be up. And that'll be the moment that we might see some aggression from.
The Hanzo and Lunara combo, by the way, provides a lot of vision, which is really, really cool. So the Zealots always know what's happening and where Team Liquid is positioned. But I like that we had that sneak off of Greymane to the top and just simply grabbing the camp. That was actually really nice, because this is putting extra pressure onto the already damaged top lane.
Yeah.
Team Liquid with a really nice touch there. But overall, it's impressive to see that the Zealots have completely made their way back in experience. It's just a matter of who wins this Immortal now.
Immortal continues to get chunked by Chris, working in some poison. The root does not connect on the bottom left. And finally, that Merc camp on the top right has reinforced that minion wave. It's starting to move in on that keep wall, and hopefully a keep later if Team Liquid is lucky and Zealots are unable to clear that up.
I can't stress enough how much of an advantage that is considering how this fight goes, but Billy is in trouble and he is down. Splendor with a quick silence, but the arrow of Hanzo takes him down. A double kill for the Zealots. They lose Sonya, but it's still a win in their favor as once again Rhaegar comes in with the Ancestral, keeping Mopsy alive. Eternal goes down. Hazops trying desperately to win that Immortal, but so far it looks like they will actually lose it. The camp to the top delivers a little bit more damage. Hazops is looking to see if he can get close enough to the Immortal to finally take it, but it's the Zealots who are turning this around.
That they are. They win the Immortal, and Shad goes in with an early Ancestral, but a good Ancestral. The only way Team Liquid can win that fight is if Li Ming got resets. ETC was the next target at half health, so he dropped the Ancestral early just to make sure there was, without a doubt, a way for Team Liquid not to win that fight. So great play there for Zealots, and now with the Immortal, they can join up and try to get some of their own damage and move towards 13.
One of the aspects of Team Liquid's play that we complimented on Towers of Doom actually turned against them here. That caution that they have and that discipline. So they could have been a little bit more aggressive, but with them taking the camp to the top, they thought, hey, we can play the safer and the slower game here. Which in general, I really, really like. I just feel trying to get that Immortal secured would have probably be a little bit advantageous for them, but of course it's also hindsight being 2020. Overall, I think Team Liquid is playing a great game here, but sometimes I wish if they have an advantage, they would be a bit more aggressive with this. It's something that we noted on Towers of Doom as well, when they had a talent lead over their opponent, that they weren't as aggressive as you would expect them to. Because the Zealots are doing a very admirable job to make sure that they force their way back into a game that looks pretty dire for them. They were very far behind, especially around level 10, and by now they've taken the lead in experience. But then, Adrian is a little bit too far out here, and once again, Hanzo just dies.
Gets picked off. Zealots kiting backwards as Team Liquid is looking for a kill. There is going to be a knock-up into Howling Blast. Mopsio will get the Ancestral, so he survives, just coming off cooldown. But Team Liquid answers back.
It's noteworthy that Hanzo died 4 times. So out of the 6 kills that Team Liquid has, 4 of them were against Hanzo. ADRD definitely had huge impacts in the Hanzo games where he played for his team, but he needs to be a bit more cautious with his positioning, at least in this game. There were a few times where he was just too far out, and it's very dangerous to do that when you're up against this particular setup that Team Liquid has and all the CC that they can drop on a target once they get a hold of it.
Yeah, it's the double-edged sword of Redemption. He was that far forward because he was trying to get another auto attack on a Nubrak to get one more stack on the Redemption. And that's an easy impale, burrow charge, whatever engage you need to get the kill, and Li Ming follows it up right away. It just needs to be a little bit more careful, and if you don't finish that quest, it's not the end of the world. Yes, it feels horrible, but surviving, much more important, obviously. All right, let's go ahead and get set up here for the next Immortal phase. Merc Camp grabbing the top right corner for Zealots as that'll push in. Should be cleared up by Team Liquid, but this should warrant them a little bit more poke on the Immortal on the north side. Yeah,
also we have Lunara, not with any defensive talents here on 13, but instead we're seeing her with Giant Killer, so trying to pressure the front line even more so than already before. But I would really like to see some of these combos, especially if Hanzo can land another good arrow, another good ult. It would be great for them here. Still a pretty even game and experience. Actually really fun to watch this. This entire series has been super interesting, and it's exactly what we were hoping for yesterday. We talked about exactly that. Oh, Billy nearly getting locked down into the Immortal stun. There's the root, and yes, that's the big problem that Zealots have. But this time, Shad was ready, and he pulled all the stops there to keep Zarmony alive.
Yeah, he did. Zarmony just stepping over just a little. Just a little. He's not incredibly out of position there, but Splinter was ready for the root. Good clean up there by Shad, keeping him alive, but they have to be careful now. Now they don't have an Ancestral. You cannot get caught by another combo, or that target is most likely going to die.
Yeah, good damage here still against the Immortal, but once again, Zarmony connecting with a Spear. The follow-up by Eternal does not connect, though. The Howling Blast is missing in this case. And again, the defense. Sonya moving to the top. That's the camp that Team Liquid has taken earlier. They need to react there. And this, of course, means that Liquid knows they're in a 5 versus 4 situation. They go in. Eternal is low, and he is down. A bit too far out. The ult too late. And that's the kill that the Zealots needed. In a 4 versus 5 situation, they get an easy kill against Arthas as Eternal just doesn't drop the army fast enough.
Trying to force a fight, just did not work out for him. And now Zealots are going to start their own poke on the bottom world itself. Zarmony showing up to help out as he rotates in from the top side. Looking for a flank, can find a spear on Hasselhoff in particular would be good. A Nubrak takes some damage, Scorpilly low as well, and you see that low health pool of a Nubrak hurting there, but Chris, same time, getting hit on the top right, Nurok's getting low, Zarmony finds a kill, delivers a slam, and there is some damage on the Immortal.
The Zealots are definitely having a party here, and they go for the buck as well, and Nuborak gets the Nuborak, he's down, and that's the Zealots now in a 5 versus 3 situation on the map, dropping Team Liquid's Immortal, and they're dropping it fast. closing in on level 16 as well. Great coordination in these fights. Chris was super low. A lot of their players were actually dropping in hit points fast, but they all moved away in time. And then Team Liquid got picked off one by one. First Li Ming, then it's Sport Billion and Uburak that gets isolated by ETC. Mopsio actually really stepping it up with his plays compared to last season.
Hanzo out of the bottom there to dissuade Team Liquid from pushing into the fort. Bit aggressive, but hey, misses out, and it makes everyone pull back on Team Liquid. Now Zealots can be destructive here. They want to push in and start getting their first fort of the game, and that will be the one in the top left corner. They have a little bit more shields here, should be able to get a keep wall if they want to continue pushing with this, but for the most part, Team Liquid should have the clear between Greymane and Li Ming. It's got to be safe here and make sure no one gets picked off.
Yeah, big push here now to the top, and Sonya is now also with the team. The 16 talent advantage has allowed them to push aggressively and force Team Liquid to stay a lot safer than they wanted to. Here comes once again potential go for the key, but the Immortal is low, and right now the Zealots with the leading experience are simply saying, you know what, boys, let's just leave it at that, at least for now. We still have the lead. Let's carry this towards 20 slowly.
A little tickle on the keep, but nothing too crazy. Zealot's going to go ahead and do an aggressive rotation on the bottom. If they get here fast enough and Team Liquid goes to the top and is spotted, they should be able to grab that fort, which will give them a nice chunk of experience.
I have to say that I'm really impressed that Mopsio plays a much calmer style with his ETC. When you looked at 2016 at the second half, he was in most of the teams that he played, he was a bit of a liability because he was overly aggressive, and especially with ETC, always tried to get the slide in and then a kill, which oftentimes backfired. Even last year, he still had a couple of moments where he was just too aggressive, too far out, he wanted too much, he didn't have the patience in particular that he oftentimes needs in this situation. But now watching him over the last few days, I have to say, this looks already way better. And I feel it's part of being in this team, and again, perfect coordination here for them. Great timing. Gets the drop on an Uburak, and once more Sport Billy is down. The Zealots look way more than a unit than the old lineup ever did.
And the Immortal will be spawning soon. It still has some time, so we should have that Uburak back on the field. But Zealots, they're finding their swagger here. They're willing to go in for the engages. And I think part of it is what you were just alluding to, the Mopsio. He isn't playing telegraphed. There was no way to really notice that engage was coming their way as he used a W for a knockback, started to escape, turned around and got that power slide on the Uburak with the rest of the team.
Yeah, I'm really liking the style of him a lot more. And of course, again, we always come back to it. It's early in the season, but still, this is something to already note here. 8 kills against 6, the Zealots have turned the game around. We still have not seen a keep fall. We still see the teams fight here, and it's another Immortal when nobody will have the talent advantage, so Team Liquid has still ample opportunity to come back into this, considering how strong they were in the early game and how difficult it was for the Zealots to get even small victories here. There's still a good chance that Team Liquid is able to win one of these team fights and turns it around, but the Zealots, at this point, they impress.
Team Liquid gets a start on the Immortal, ahead of their opponents in damage. Zealots are responding. Immediately here, they are set up and primed to go. They can afford to peel off Zarmony here, who does a nice chunk of damage to the Immortal. Mopsio has to control the space as well as he can, though, to prevent this poke from coming in, as Nurok, sitting over that wall, can poke safely. Yeah,
at this point, Zealots are simply trying to race. They know that the position of the Immortal is really a problem. Nurok can just sit behind that debris and always just fire away. This is now where the real action is going to start to begin. Which team is going to take the defensive posture and who's finally going to make that move? Time is working in the Zealots' favor, but they need an entire level until they're 20. On the other hand, Sonya in a bit of trouble here. Bullet comes out already. Mopsio a bit low, Zarmony too. Zealots are defending, and Team Liquid is looking for that opportunity.
Zarmony able to get that Wrath off, really helped them with that root coming in, able to escape before the Silence connects as well. So you're going to have Sonya nice and healthy after being topped off by Rhaegar, and a Twilight Dream down for Team Liquid.
Yeah, at this point, we saw a bit of a problem here for Hanzo. Here comes once again the engage. Sport Billy looking okay, and Mopsio with a bit of an early mosh pit gets interrupted. Eternal, though, low again, and he dies. The kill for the Zealots. 5 versus 4 in their favor, but Team Liquid is looking for the counter kill. The Ancestral coming through, though, saving Mopsio. ETC dominant at the front line, and Billy goes down.
Nurok tries to go for a kill on ADRD on the back right. He misses out as ADRD jumps over. Chad by himself. Hasselhoff giving chase, but Chris coming forward to help him out. Does apply some poison. Big power slide coming in from Mopsio, and there we go. Greymane is down. Team Liquid has lost 3.
Team Liquid losing 3 members and losing the Immortal as well. Most likely Liquid was more or less completely inting onto the Immortal to make sure that they at least get it. But that didn't work out. Zealots somehow still defended it. And now we only have a few players shocking around, making sure that Li Ming doesn't fire off the last few remaining shots. And to the top, Zealots go for the Immortal. Liquid definitely punished here. Losing the early target, then saying, okay boys, whatever we do, don't lose the Immortal, go in, even if we lose another hero or two, as long as the Immortal is ours, we will live to fight another day. And now the worst case scenario has happened. They lost 3 players, they gave more experience over to the Zealots, who have now hit 20, and they lost the Immortal as well. And the Zealots will go for at least a keep now, if not more.
They're in a position to even threaten lethal here.
Yes.
20 to almost 19, not even there for Team Liquid. They should get on the wave pushing in with the Immortal, but they still need a full level. They're saving grace for now, as that there is a keep wall on the way, which should give them some poke between Greymane and Li Ming for defense. But I would be lying if I would say I was not worried for Team Liquid to lose the game right here.
The shields are low. That's one of the things that works in their favor, that the Immortal doesn't have a lot of shields. But with level 20 talents, this is still rough. You're absolutely right. They are all ready. Boili needs to make sure that he doesn't walk into the stun. So far, so good. And the Immortal is already falling fast. If they don't lose a hero here, they should be able to at least hold the core. Billy, under pressure, moving back, barely.
Immortal still has a little bit of health left. Nothing too crazy here. Team Liquid doing their best to defend and not lose a single target. Poke constantly coming in. ADRD getting some auto attacks, but with the minion wave spawning, Team Liquid looks like they have held for now. Mobzio wanting to force a fight though, does power slide in.
And this time Team Liquid turns it around. They go in and they drop ETC. Great Ancestral here. Here comes the silence. Immediately the ice block by Splinter to save himself as they go for Harmony. The Ancestral comes through as the Zealots save their off tank, at least for now, but in the second attempt, Sonya falls. And all of a sudden, Team Liquid back to business, closing in on the 20, even though they lost their keep. And they lose the second one. Oh, that hurts.
They have lost all fortifications on the field except for their core. But they defend, and not only do they defend, they get a couple of kills against Zealots, which give them a spike in experience. They are level 20 here, and they are looking for something on the map. Get the minions pushed down, maybe grab a keep wall, grabbing these mercenary camps, anything they can get, because now they are scrambling.
They need to YOLO. I'm really looking at this and I'm asking myself, okay, what can you do here? I really feel they need to push for a keep at the top as they do right now. If you don't at least get a keep at this point while Sonya is still down, maybe get a kill here. How do you ever hold on the next Immortal phase? You can't. They need to at least get the keep.
Zealots trying to defend here. Keep looks like it's going down, a little under a quarter health. Zealots will lose their keep, but can they chase? Chris is slowing down every target he can. An arrow does come out. ADRD is reducing the armor as much as he can here. Even Arthas hoping to heal himself to get out.
Catapults are putting pressure on the Team Liquid squad.
Big power slide.
That was calculated. They needed that, but here Norok. Norok is still alive. Chris, low, Norok alive. Here comes the silence. And they go straight for Sonya again. Cocoon comes out as well. They need to move back from this. They lost already a few hit points on the core, but killing this keep was crucial. It at least gives them a little bit of space amongst all of this. The Zealots are likely to win the halftime show here. And then it's all about the big team fight. And of course, there is still an advantage for the red team. Zealots have the bot lane pushing constantly. And even if Team Liquid wins the Immortal, it means the Immortal has to go through a fort and a keep before he ends up at the core. So Zealots are still fine here. But Team Liquid, after the double kill that they performed on the left side of the map, made the perfect call, took the keep at the top, but they are still behind in this game.
The theme of the game comes down to the wire here. Zealots needing control. Want to control this Immortal phase, allow for the catapults to push in both lanes, stop top if they can, while Team Liquid wants to catch.
At this point, once again, poke from Hanzo.
ADRD rearing up again, another arrow about to come out.
Catapults at the bot lane, putting the time onto Team Liquid. They need to be careful here.
If Earthernal finds a Howling Blast, he does. Can they grab the catch here? Waiting for the jump. Earthernal's going in. He wants to fight.
Harmony missing the spear, and they have the ults are already down. Earthernal's in a bit of trouble here.
Mobzio!
Again, Mobzio with the mosh pit, but he gets interrupted.
He's stopped there by the wave of force support. Billy going for the dive.
Going in, trying to go for ETC again. Rhaegar dies first. Team Liquid finds the kill.
So we're going to have Arthas finally getting the kill on him. Zarmani getting chased here on the
way.
backline. He's getting lower and lower.
ETC low, Zarmani as well. Liquid on half HP. And at the bot lane, a massive wave is accumulating again and pressuring towards the core.
Those catapults are a problem. Team Liquid needs to find a solution, but they also have to defend their immortal.
They're still up at one player though, and they're trying to defend here, but look at Billy, he's so low at this point.
Billy's gotta be careful. Zarmani, a full health Sonya is still shucking around. That is terrifying.
30 seconds until the healer of the Zealots is back. 30 seconds until there's an Ancestral. And Team Liquid, they know they're on the clock now.
They gotta go. Some damage on the Immortal right away. Zarmani on the side here on the fog. If he finds a spear on any target, they can delete him.
Eternal needs to be careful, and he is down once again. Just before Army is back up, that's the kill that the Zealots needed, and all of a sudden it could be the end of Liquid, but they go for Zarmani.
Team Liquid has decided they have to fight now. Big silence comes out as well as a web.
So barely getting out of there, and the arrow on
Chris, he's chasing, he's getting the auto attack. Nurok's done, and Zealots have won the team fight.
Zealots have taken it. Li Ming is down, killed by ETC. Greyman has fallen, and with 4 heroes dead, Team Liquid only has Malfurion on the field to defend against this. The Zealots, they are going in for win number 2.
Catapult's helping out, as well as Lennar here as well. The last couple minutes, neck and neck between our two teams, but it seems like it's just enough. Mopsio leading the charge, and Sesto even coming out just for good measure. And Team Zealots will take a series that was all tied up 1-1, and they'll move forward into the lead.
Really impressive play here by the Zealots. Liquid dominated that early game and did so well with it. But then the Zealots, again, the coordination and the play on ETC that we saw from Opsio was so strong. So many kills through him preparing it. Especially Nubarak had so much pressure on him. And I have to say, Eternal, a couple of questionable moves here. Very, very far out. Twice he walked in and dropped his army exceptionally late and could not keep himself alive at all. Malfurion doesn't have that panic button that Rhaegar has with an Ancestral or an Uther with Divine Shield. And even that last kill, he was trying to anchor the side, but he runs straight into Sonya, and then the Zealots are sitting there, so like, wait a second, he's completely alone? All right, let's drop him. He was trying to move back, they nearly saved him, but with Arthas falling in that situation, that was the beginning of the end. So Liquid with a great start into the game, but the Zealots always believing in their chance for a comeback, and they made it happen.
Back and forth action between both of our teams. Zealots showing the composure, though. That's what really made me happy to see on this team. This is still a young team. They got some new rosters in, obviously, here, with Chris now being on the team. But compared to last year, they have improved so much dramatically. Mopsio on that front tank line just bringing the control that you need. But I do have to question, I do wonder, is it the ETC that is empowering the Zealots? ETC has now won them 2 matches today, and with Mopsio being that comfortable, maybe shaking him up is the answer for Team Liquid.
ETC has won straight up every single game today. And overall, when we're looking at his win ratio, he's currently looking at 5 wins and a single loss over the last 2 days. And it is very, very clear that at this point, he is the strongest tank that we have. Him together with Arthas, they really built that core setup of most of the compositions. And it's something to really consider. Then at the same time, of course, this is a game that could have gone a little bit different here as well if Team Liquid played their angle a bit better around Arthas and around Nubarak. But right now, there's definitely a few aspects of this where Team Liquid has to take a closer look at the setup and think, okay, how do we deal with this? Then again, let's not forget this was also the map pick of the Zealots. So they were really looking at this and saying, okay, this is the map where we can really shine against Team Liquid, where we feel we have an advantage. And it worked for them. They have the lead in the best of 5 now, which means they only need to win 1 more map to clutch out a victory in the best of 5 here today after they lost yesterday's series against Tricked.
Well, now we'll be